So hey guys, it's Ted, 10 Legan's Fishing Life, out here on the lake, just at sunset, just rain, so we hid under the little gazebo here. Ashley's out with me again. Messing around with my prop, tried to modify one, it doesn't work. Apparently all they say about tuning a prop is true. You can't just mess around with it, you gotta do it for real. But so here we are talking about the bite of the day from my Instagram account at Ted Lincoln's Fishing Life, bites number 51 through 59. And these are the last, this is going to be the last wrap up that is just Instagram. My YouTube is catching up. I've been putting them out every day on YouTube. It's up to number 59 now, so we're almost caught up to this. So I think on Instagram I'm up to 62. So this month they'll merge and I'll be doing a wrap up for all of it just at once. Sorry, YouTube guys, if that was confusing. Started on Instagram, migrated over to YouTube. But yeah, number 51. Went to go meet my buddy, Jose, who's Real Drag here on Instagram, Check out his page, catch his monsters. We went to a local pond, or I met him at a local pond, and decided to take out my extended fat bike rig with my inflatable kayak that fits on the back and ride down to this pond, which is off of one of our local mountain bike trails, inflate my kayak and go out and go fishing. I'm actually going to make a whole video about that trip, just working on the editing. But me and Jose went out, and it wasn't till towards the end of the day, after Jose actually left, that I figured out that you needed to skip cast frogs under the tree line on the bank to get them to hit a topwater. We both caught stuff on worms, and I think he caught something on a chatterbait, and we did pretty good beforehand, but as soon as I figured out that you had to skip cast, opened all the doors. And here it is, bite number 51. I'm throwing the KVD popping perch in clear, which if you don't know is not only a great shad color, it's the softest plastic of all the Strike King plastics and has a way better hookup ratio than all the other frogs. That'll be in my frog project video, which is also still in the works. But here it is, by number 51, me on an inflatable kayak out with Real Drag, local pond in Gainesville. So yeah, that was me and Real Drag out on the local pond, inflatable kayak. I got the thing off Amazon for like 70 bucks. I think they're up now to 100 something. I've used it maybe a dozen times, and for that kind of money, man, it's a good deal, that little K1 kayak. Yeah, I had to do a little modification to a crate to make it work with the bike and the rods, as you can see. That'll be all in the pond, bike, frog, kayak video that's coming out. So bite number 52 was out on Rodman Reservoir. This might be the single meanest bass I've ever caught. I actually went there the day before with a Walmart version of the live target sunfish because I just couldn't bring myself to spend $15 on the live target one if I didn't know it worked. So I bought the Walmart one. I'd caught a couple 4 or 5 pounders on it elsewhere, no problem. Went to this spot on Rodman and hooked into this fish, and it straight out bent the hook straight and got off. Yeah, it's not a good feeling. Knew it was a huge fish. Drove straight from Rodman to local tackle shop, Gary's Tackle Box, bought the official live target, sunfish with the trocar hooks. So much better. Went back the next morning and I caught this one. What is he? 7.3 pounds. Check out the meanest bass I've ever caught. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Come here, buddy. Oh yeah. Woo! He really was mean.
Yeah.
Bent out the hooks and everything.
Very mean.
Yeah. He was pissed. She was pissed.
Yeah, he did say.
So yeah, that's number 52, that Rodman 7-pounder on the sunfish. Man, like you can see in that video, she just did not want to give up. She just kept pulling. I swore she must have been a 10-pounder the way she hit and pulled, but you know, 7.3, that's still a giant fish. And that live target sunfish proved its worth that day, and I've gone on to catch many other fish on that. They don't always want it, but when they do, it's right on. It'll also be in my frog video. Okay, so now we're bite number 53, and living here in Florida, especially when it gets warmer, basically 9 months of the year, you got to worm fish. And people hate worm fishing, slow, dragging the worm across the bottom. But one of the other things you can do with a worm, especially this worm, which is the Magnum trick worm, this is the KVD one, the Zoom one's great too, is you can use it to punch and pitch in pads and sparse grass. It's not so good for like heavy mats like you would with a real punching rig, but for like that lily pad spread, it's awesome. I was sitting in this spot all day, or off and on all day. I knew there were fish there and they just weren't biting anything. I tried punching frogs, everything, and it wasn't until I put on this black trick worm, half ounce tungsten weight, and started pitching into the holes. Like the second or third pitch, I caught this nice 4.5-ish pounder. I don't really remember how big it is, but so sometimes worm fishing isn't worm fishing. Check it out, bite number 53. There we go. Finally, a little better bass. All right, so here we are. This is just recently, this bite. Not all these bites are that recent. Like I said, this is me trying to free up some hard drive space and use some of these awesome catches I've gotten over the last couple of years. This was recently out on Orange Lake fishing sparse hydrilla, kind of in open water. But this hydrilla was not sparse, it was dense. And this 4-ish, 4.5 pounder explodes on my frog. I have to fight it. It buries itself in the hydrilla. You'll see me digging it out. I get my hand on its lip, pull it out of the water, but there's so much hydrilla in my line that it pulls it back out of my hand and the bass gets off at the boat. So sometimes the bass in hand still doesn't count, not unless it's in the boat. Check it out. Bite number 54. That's a good one. God damn. So yeah, that is what when I talk to my friends in other places and I talk about heavy cover, that's what I mean. That hydrilla you saw there, that was probably 30, 40 pounds of hydrilla around that bass. And it was dense and he was down in it. And there was no way to get him out except to dig. And even then I still lost him because there's so much hydrilla in my line. But yeah, move on to number 55, another Trash Panda by 13 Fishing Bass. This day I actually caught three 6-pounders this day, but 2 of them on this frog. One of them was on a Cinco. I mean, this is textbook frog fishing, casting on the edge of heavy pads, bringing it across the edge. This 6-pounder just destroyed it. I mean, and it's hard to beat up, or it's hard to beat that Trash Panda for hookups. Check it out. Bite number 55, Trash Panda, 6-pound bass, lily pads. You gotta love it. That's a good one. Bite number 56 has a little more rain. Yeah, a little more rain.
Yep.
Wow, we're still gonna go out, try to catch the sunset bite, but bite number 56. This is my buddy Josh. I was out on his boat, and this is actually when him and I were exploring some new areas on Orange Lake, and we had found this brush pile. I had caught one fish off of it, and actually broke off my swim jig. My favorite one at the time was this Dirty Jigs California swim jig, and I broke it off. We go back towards the end of the day one more time by this brush pile, and he hooks into this really good fish that immediately drags him and his line into this brush pile. And he pretty much thought he lost it. And I was like, no, you know, and he thought he lost his spinnerbait. He's like, no, let's go get it. We go over there in the boat. You can see me grabbing the rod, pulling everything else. And after I got it off, after minutes of being hung up on this brush, and finding my swim jig in the brush while I was trying to get his lure free, so I got my swim jig back. Finally get his lure free, and the bass is still on there. It's like a 4.5 pounder, and he has to fight at the end. It's an awesome clip. Check it out. Here's my buddy Josh catching 4.5, 4 1/4, something like that, bass on a spinnerbait, and fighting brush at Orange Lake. There you go. That's a better one. Josh has got one. Pulling the boat around. Give him a little slack. There you go. Oh, he's on there. Oh, yeah. That was some work. So yeah, that just goes to show you sometimes just because you're wrapped up doesn't mean the fish isn't there. You shouldn't just give up and cut your line. Especially, you don't want to leave your lures in the water if you can help it. Doesn't do fish any good. Doesn't do your pocketbook any good. And sometimes the fish is still on there. So here we are at bite number 57. This was actually just the other day when I took Ashley out with her friends. Remember Lake Santa Fe?
Yeah.
After I dropped you off, I went out. It's pouring rain, you know, but whatever. I'm already on the boat. They're already off the boat. So, and I got this one bass to blow up on a frog, and just blew up and totally missed the frog. And I could tell that day that they were not really hitting the frog that well. So instead of just throwing the frog back in, I had a backup rod set up with a gambler paddle tail worm, and I had actually caught several fish just on that worm that day already. So as soon as he blew up, I reeled it in, put that rod down, grabbed this rod, followed up, threw in, caught this nice 5-ish pounder, and I wouldn't have got him if I didn't have a follow-up bait. So here's the importance of a follow-up bait when fishing topwater, especially a frog. Check it out. Bite number 57. There we go. So yeah, I know a lot of people tell you should have a follow-up bait, but you know, you realize when you have a bite like that or a catch like that, that it really does work sometimes. It doesn't always work. Sometimes they'll blow up on the frog and they'll just decide whatever you throw at them is fake. But luckily that worm was just right. Just pretty much immediately caught it. So next up isn't a big fish. This is actually only a few pounder, but is bite number 58 on the Storm Arashi flat-sided crankbait. It's about a 7-foot diver. And I found it at the local Ollie's discount store for $3 or $3.99, $4. And you know, the tackle world is always expanding. There's always something new or a new version of something you should get. You know, it's always hard to keep up, and especially stuff gets expensive. So when I find something interesting at Ollie's, I tend to buy one, sometimes two. But so I bought this one in bluegill pattern, went to this lake, and within, I don't know, a few minutes of throwing it, I caught this 3.5 pounder. It was a great fight, pulled real hard. Immediately went back to Ollie's the next day and bought 3 or 4 more flat-sided crankbaits just to be safe. But here it is, check it out. My first flat-sided crankbait bass, a little 3-pounder, but it's awesome. All right, so that was bite number 58, the flat-sided crankbait. I mean, it's all the rage, but you know, for $3.99 I had to try it, and now I like it. I actually have one tied on right now. Might try it tonight. although we'll see how this rain goes. So here's the last bite of September. This is bite number 59. This is actually the same day as the crankbait bass. I was moving spots, and I'm in my roundabout, a little trolling motor. And sometimes I just decide to troll behind it. It doesn't usually work, but sometimes it does. So you got to use a trolling motor, you might as well troll, right? So I threw this deep diving crankbait out behind the boat, and I was just jerking it, and I noticed that there was a hump where the water went from 14 feet to 8 feet. Oh, we got someone coming out. But yeah, I saw this hump in the water on my graph where it went from 14 feet to about 8 feet, and you can see a little grass on top. I didn't see any fish on my graph, but I was like, well, I'll just keep going, keep pulling my jerk bait. It's about a 10-foot diver, but with as much line as I had out, running the light braid to leader I had, it was probably going to 12 feet. And I felt it hang up some grass, pulled it free, and immediately got smashed by this 5-pounder in the middle of open water. You would never guess it was out there unless you had a graph or you knew that hump was there. So check it out. Here's bite number 59, open water, trolling, a deep diving, suspending jerkbait. I'm hooked funny. I'm ripping it out of some grass down there. Just hooked a little funny out as well. So yeah, there it is, the wrap up for the bite of the day for September. I hope you like it. Like I said, September is the last month that the Instagram and YouTube will be separate. Starting in October, they're all going to be together. Oh, thanks, dear.
There you go. You're welcome.
Whiskey business. Take it easy. Wish us luck. We're going to go try to catch some fish. I'll see you tomorrow on the next bite of the day, or next month at the next wrap up. If you check it out, some other videos coming out soon. Check out Atypical Outdoors' store for major hammer gear. Check out the hat. It's awesome. We got some socks we forgot to bring today. It'll be sock weather soon, so we'll have it. All right, guys, get my hat straight. Now I gotta go change my prop and go fishing. See you. You want to hop on for a minute? Show you some the other part of the lake. Look. Ah, you moved.
What are you squishing? That should definitely be in there.
We'll see.